What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I'm back for another album review for you guys. Now, this one, I wasn't sure which album I was really wanting to dive into, because there were a couple of ones I was thinking about doing full reviews for, but this one, after watching Thralls of Metal do the review for this album, I thought, you know what, how about I give this album its just desserts, so to speak. And I am talking about the 9th studio album from Greek, now Swedish, melodic death metal band Nightrage, and their album Abyss Rising. So yeah, Nightrage, melodic death metal band that formed in 2000, and they were originally from Greece, then they moved to Sweden, which makes sense considering their sound that they are going for here. They've even had Thomas Lindberg from At the Gates on vocals on a couple of their albums in the past. And this is their 9th studio output. And like I said, this is my first time actually listening to this band. So what have I gotten myself into? Well, let's find out. So we kick things off with the title track, Abyss Rising. Awesome drum intro to lead us straight into some melodic death metal fury, and the speed is quite thrashy on this track. And the chorus has more mid-tempo groove going on because it remains in that mid-tempo groove throughout the entire chorus, but the riffs remain really melodic. And the riffs and the verses definitely have a thrashy exterior to them. And we get two different leads going on here. One that had a little bit more feel to it, and then the other one with a little more shred going on. Heavy breakdown following those leads as the song reaches its conclusion. Swallow Me being the next track on the album, starting off with more mid-tempo riffs before some clean guitars pop in for some dark and somber atmosphere just briefly before it gets back into a little more heavy, a little more of the heavier exterior with the verses, although the verses even carry a little feeling of despair to it to go along with the riffs and the slight atmosphere that you're getting in the background. And even the chorus kind of carries that feeling even further, and even some clean vocals show up here on the bridge before it leads into the lead section, and we get more lead trade-offs and even some guitar harmonies happening in this lead. So really the only thing, like with the clean vocals, I thought they were a little bit flat with the cleans on here, but thankfully it was only brief, and then we just get back into some epic guitar parts going on towards the end. Following that, we get Nauseating Oblivion, which the music video to this is really, really crazy, like a bunch of problems in the world and stuff like that, but the song itself, dark and heavy riffs right off the bat here in the beginning, and these riffs carry a lot of heaviness to it, and it goes on throughout the verses on this track, and while the chorus comes in, bringing back the melody, and even has a little bit of a power metal feel, because it's got a little bit of a anthemic quality to it. And then the lead section we get here, great balance between feel and shred. More clean vocals come up here towards the end prior to the final chorus, and I think the cleans were actually more effective on this track than it was on the previous one. Of course, that's only just from my ear. Dance of Cerberus, I think that's right. Dance of Cerberus. Starting off with beautiful clean guitars and melodic guitars kind of commingling together to kind of set a beautiful mood for the beginning here. And then it turns fast, thrashy, and heavy real quick. And this track almost has a bit of a mixture of At the Gates and Early in Flames going on. And the verses kind of go back and forth between being at thrashy speeds, and then even a little bit of blast beats coming along too. And once again, just like the previous track, the chorus carries on more of an anthemic feel, and once again, the leads, shred and melodic flair going together like what's a good analogy that I could go for this? Like peanut butter and jelly. There you go. Falsifying Life being the next track of the album, starting off with some more dark tranquility feels going on with how it starts so melodic yet a little bit almost sinister. And the verses have more groove coming back. Like, there are some groove moments going on throughout the entire album. The pre-chorus has these cool, clean guitars before it unleashes into the main chorus with more anthemic vocals and solid melodic play. And another great lead section with more trade-offs going on between the two guitars, kind of showcasing what those guys can do on the guitar. And then after the little interlude track, more Portal of Dismay, we get into Shadows Embrace Me. Somber, clean guitars right off the bat here. That kind of reminds me of like a clean Arch Enemy part. And even when the heavier guitars come into the fray, it carries more of that Arch Enemy feeling, like shit's about to go down, and it sure did. Gets into this awesome breakdown right off the bat to add more intensity. Love the harmonic guitar riffing we get here as well. The verse starts off with clean guitars before it gets heavier and a little bit faster. Chorus, once again, carrying more of an epic feel, like as if we're in the middle of a battle right now. And then after the second chorus, another epic fucking lead section where the guitars are just going crazy with shred and melody. And I absolutely love the lead work on this track. Ninth Circle of Hell, the following track, cool guitar harmonies right off the bat. And then it gets into a groove that's kind of similar to like Amon Amarth or even Celtic Frost or even Black Sabbath. Like, it has a little bit of a swagger and swing going on with the groove. First verse starts off subdued with the clean guitars before the heavy riff follows suit. Chorus has that marching groove going on in the background faintly to emphasize the groove even further. And then the second verse was almost like the first verse but in reverse. Like, where the first verse started off with the clean guitars and it felt subdued, and then it gets into the heavy riff. Here with the second verse, it starts off with the heavy riffs, and then it ends with the subdued clean guitars. So I like how they were changing things up here on this track. And then the lead section, more of a classic metal flair going on here. Kind of something like you would hear from like Judas Priest or even Accept. Something along those lines. And I love the lead section on here because of that classic heavy metal feel going on. The Divergent, which was just a 2-minute instrumental, but it was actually a great 2-minute instrumental. It's got some beautiful acoustic guitars playing along to the melodic guitars going on, and these harmonies you get here scream Arch Enemy and even Death Clock. And there's even a nice jazzy clean guitar part that comes in here too. So for a 2-minute instrumental, I give these guys a round of applause because that was actually a really good track. Then we get into Cursed by the Gift of Sight, heavy off-time riff to get things started here before it gets thrashy and even some blast beats being heard in the verse. Then the pre-chorus and the chorus brings back the melody and the slight epic feel once again. Right after that, quick-fire shredding lead coming in before the second verse, and then a chugging breakdown coming in prior to yet another tasty lead section that has some power metal vibes going once again. False Gods, the next track, melodic play right away, and it's slower here, like they slowed it down a little bit, and even during the verses, some slight atonal guitar play going on in the verses here and there. It's just kind of peppered in there a little bit. The chorus here was more straightforward than most of the choruses on the album. The bridge has some heavy riffs happening with a bit more chunk to it. Yet another tasty lead section where more guitar harmonies come in, and these harmonies definitely have a classic metal feel and swing to it. Pest Ridden Tide, the penultimate track, great clean guitars to begin this, and it unleashes into blast beats and epic guitars that kind of feel similar to like Amon Amarth or even Winter Sun. And then after that, it gets thrashy and into guitar parts that remind me of Soilwork this time, and brings back the blast beats briefly here and there before it gets back to being thrashy again. The chorus has a more hardcore groove going on, but with the melodic guitars on top. And then the final lead section here, which was not as long as most leads, but it had a bit of a somber feel to it, kind of something similar to, once again, Winter Sun. And then the final minute-long track, Silence of the Darkened Soul, feels like them paying homage to Iron Maiden with the melodies while the clean guitars are going on top to bring this album to a close. So overall, first experience with Nightrage, I was actually really pleasantly surprised here as to how good these guys are. These guys know how to play tasteful melody, and the lead work. Really the best thing about this album, the lead work is incredible on this album. Really my only complaints I could really have about this album is it might be a bit formulaic because, granted, the song structures are pretty straightforward, verse, chorus, bridge, rinse and repeat. And some of the songs to me did start to kind of sound the same, just a little bit. Granted, they were playing in mostly, I believe it was drop C tuning on this album, because there were some moments where it sounded like it could have been D tune, or it could be C standard. I don't know. I gotta learn my guitar tunings a little bit more, but yeah, it does feel a little formulaic, but it's a solid formula to have because a lot of these I'm creating words again. A lot of these choruses do have some epic feels going on and some catchiness. It can be a problem when a lot of the choruses kind of seemingly blend together, but it's a good problem to have because these choruses are actually pretty well executed. And of course, like I said, while it felt a little formulaic, they did try to break the formula quite a few times on a lot of tracks, like especially in the second half, like Shadows Embrace Me, Ninth Circle of Hell, Cursed by the Gift of Sight. I think those songs definitely broke that formula big time because they added more swing and some more somber moments at times, more harmonies going on, and even some halftime moments, especially on Cursed by the Gift of Sight. And even the Divergent being a great 2-minute instrumental track, and even the final track with that Iron Maiden influence. So yeah, they broke the formula a few times, which definitely helps the score go up for me. So overall, this is a really solid, really good album. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it all the way through, and it's a pretty quick listen too. It's only like 38, 39 minutes, and most of the songs clock in about 3.5. Hell, Shadows Embrace Me was the longest of the album at just a little over 4 minutes. So it's not like these songs dragged on, which is good. It's just, to me, they kind of started to sound the same just a little bit, but a few of these songs, like I said, broke that formula, and those were, in my opinion, the best tracks of the album. So what did you guys think of Abyss Rising by Nightrage? Let me know in the comments section below. And got a couple of videos lined up here this week, and that is Under the Radar, as usual, to talk about the other albums that came out during the weekend. But hoping that tomorrow I can finally get to record the band versus band videos, and I'm hoping to do at least 2 videos of band versus band, and those will be out later in the week. So be on the lookout for those videos, and until next time, horns high, and I will see you soon. Wake up.
This is interesting.
And wow. I can go ahead and confirm.
I was the revealer. I was flip Levi's card. There's my revealer card.
I was hoping this would happen. Okay.
The heck happened?
Alright.
What in the
world? Oh god.
Misappropriated.
Okay, I was the robber and I took Seth's revealer.
What the heck?
So Seth and I are safe bad news for everyone else.
And I'm a prince again,
I literally was squinting because I'm like, that looks like a revealer card, but wait, I'm the revealer.